and our main motivation for doing this app was there's plenty of apps out there like Kayak for you to have an itinerary of how to get to a location, but not many options in terms of creating an itinerary when you get to a location. There is TripAdvisor, but it's slowly become a sales pitch. It's really hard to find, things to look for, attractions. It's all about, you can find this deal or this deal. So we were looking for something where you can create an itinerary of the different attractions, the restaurants, or things to do, and then being able to share that with your friends when you're trying to convince them to go on that trip with you.
So the technologies that we use, this is a MERN, it's a MERN stacks, or it's a MERN app. So we used Mongo, we used Express to make our server, so the two sides could talk to each other. We used React for the front end for some components, and then we used Node.js because all roads lead there, it seems. And then, so for our front end, our incredibly talented Pablo, for our front end design, used Bootstrap and Animista for some interesting animation. And then our incredibly talented Rachel used FormSpree for the email functionality and the Facebook API for user authentication, which has been awesome. And then, of course, JavaScript. Again, all roads lead there, I guess. So, yeah, that's what the app is. This is what version 1 of the app is.
I don't know where it's going to be. All right, guys. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming in here. And as we roll up to just little things, that make me happy. This is Day Trippers. Really nice, simple little forum place where you can try to find basically what you want to do. Very similar to other places, but in a more simple form. We had a lot of complicated designs and just a lot of beautification that at the end of the day, just one little splash page with a nice little search bar. I don't know who we got inspiration from, but but just kind of going in there. I guess we can go ahead and kind of sign in, for example, right there. You can either do Facebook or a regular one. I could put on my name. Oh, there's a lot of names, but none of them are mine. Something like that, and then I could put a password. I'll do that, and then just press go, and it'll just kind of can allow me just to kind of use the app now as well. From there, it is responsive as well, I believe. If I can, never mind. We won't do the responsive because we need to get out of there. But let's, I work at a restaurant, so let's try to find some restaurants in San Francisco. So it looks like I've already kind of looked at it, and surprise! And we'll just kind of go ahead and hit submit, and it will populate all these little little restaurants for us as well right here. Dosa, if you want to smell like barbecue. I have no idea where this place is, but we're going to go check that out as well. Boulevard, it's pretty cool. And we're just going to keep going down. And later on, I get kind of my saved itineraries for the day of what I've highlighted, so I don't forget or have to go back to what I've used before. So that's pretty cool. From there, now I'm going to look for, I guess, San Francisco, let's see, attractions. Let's see, did I spell that right? And and now it's just kind of giving me a different highlight. Let's just go to the pier, I guess, you know, see the whales. I don't know if they're still there. We'll go ahead and just gonna get the Golden Gate. And now I'm gonna have all these little guys. There's different little museums. I do hit quite a few little guys right here. So now I know we're gonna go to Valencia, we're gonna go to Quincy Boulevard, and then we're also thinking of a few little places like the Modern Art and the pier. I have a lot of friends, and sometimes I don't want some friends to meet other friends because they don't get along or whatnot. So actually, I can set up 2 different places that I want to go and send it to 2 different people. So I can have an itinerary for the morning of where I want to go, and send this, for example, to Rachel. And you know, I guess I'll send that to her, and I'll tell her I also want to go to Rachel, not San Francisco. And I guess I know, but I'm waiting. Do you have your phone ready? Oh, I'm just gonna send it to her. I just want to make sure we hear the ping.
In my head.
And I guess it's a lot of her.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Did you get a ping? I was hoping. Oh, there it
Woo!
is. Subtle,
Yeah.
but not so subtle. And I guess I'm gonna hack her account right here, and I guess
Shit.
she gets an email right here. I don't know if it should click on it or does something. I guess you can click on it, and I'll just kind of show her the itinerary for the day as well. So, and then I'll just kind of take you back here to page 1 again. It is a fully
Nice.
guy right here, and if you actually haven't tried it yet, so it's fully functional. I'm not joking, don't take my word for it. But that's day trippers for a little sense right there. Cheers.
Nice. No challenges.
Challenge free.
Challenge.
Get some money.
All right, so version 2 of our application, obviously, as I'm pretty sure all of us kind of experienced, we had a lot of big ideas early on as to, you know, we have a full month, let's really just kind of go at this and see what we can do. And we really had to do a lot of edits along the way as we kind of were working with different technologies, and really kind of just figuring out what was going to be able to produce this final MVP. So in the future, our vision really is to make this a more comprehensive application. So it would also include things like traffic notifications. It would include things like temperature of that particular location. So really you'd be able to kind of get a full picture of what your day would look like. So not only are you able to select the restaurants and the attractions, but now maybe you're also able to see what's the temperature in that particular area, what's the traffic like during specific times. There was a really cool video API where you have like live feeds of particular areas. That would be pretty awesome to kind of have just a full picture of making your itinerary for your entire day. Next would be SMS notifications. So the notification I got was through email, but it would be pretty awesome if instead of getting that email, or in addition to getting that email notification, your friends would get pinged like, hey, meet me at the pier, here's kind of our itinerary for the day. I get a text message, and now I'm on my way, just call an Uber, I'm gone. And then lastly, a final vision for this is really for this to be like a repository for all itinerary information. So this would also include things, for instance, if you're doing full day travel and you have confirmation numbers, maybe there's flights involved, or hotel information that you need to pull up, or reservation information that you need to pull up, you'd be able to have a repository of all this information. So as you go through your day, you have everything kind of ready and available at hand. Instead of having to kind of dig through emails, look for documents that you've printed out, everything is really centrally stored in this application. So lastly, we'll just kind of go over some of the challenges
that we face as a team, so we can each kind of just share a particular challenge. For, I guess, me specifically, it was using React with some of the front-end UX and UI design. There were some limitations that, especially like with the email, that it kind of took some workaround because I was used to using it in other technologies that weren't quite compatible with React. So that was one of my challenges.
I guess some of the stuff, it was challenging, but also it was kind of great. Some of my challenges were things that weren't even like things that were getting spit out through the API and how to modify those, how to, you used to kind of saw things side by side, and those are just images that are just getting populated as well. But how do I actually grab one if they're all an image box, and if I do, float right or float left, they're all just going to go to the right or left. So finding out selectors like the nth of child, and then just kind of stack them out through evens and odds, which is kind of great. And working on DevTools, I've never done that as a good flow work, but as I have limitations into how many times I can ping something, and I don't want to keep pinging because I might be low for the day as well unless I pay for it. This is a really great way to just kind of see instant, results as well. Just seeing and then just using that, put it in your code, and just kind of refresh and kind of go. But that was some of my challenges, just to see how that was getting spit out and kind of work around that.
So I will say Git so hard. For me, Git was hard this time because when I would pull and then I would integrate someone else's challenges in with my code, it felt like I would have to relearn the code all over again. I feel like I know code well enough to know what my code is, but when you see somebody else's code, it's like a whole new ballgame. And so it's just a slow learning process for that. So.
And I worked on the API, and Google API was kind of interesting. I thought it would be a simple AJAX command where you're pinging a URL. Instead, they have their own technology where it brings up a CORS error, which is basically was very challenging, and the workaround was to do it on the server side, so we didn't get to that. So that would be definitely something that we would shift over to the server side, which means instead of putting in your helper React component, you would put it in your server.js component file instead, to get that CORS error to go away instead of using a plugin.
And that is our project. Are there any questions? Yay.
So how did you?
So one of the.
Not so fast.
Too early.
So what did you end up doing to work around the CORS issue?
I found a plugin, so I did a bunch of research, and the quickest way to get because everyone was relying on my API working, so I Googled around and I found a plugin that disabled CORS, and then that allowed us to ping Google. Downside of that is you can't launch it to Heroku and have it go live, so the proper way to do that would have been to move it to the server side instead of leaving it in a React component.
I have a question. How did you pick out which were the top things in the list? Like which were the best attractions?
So it's basically like a Google search.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have you can't pick what comes up first. So it's like, when you go on your page, you see 20 results. So what Google is doing, just giving you the first 20 results based on their algorithm, and then you can go to the next page if you want.
Cool.
But we just went with the first
Top
page of
ones.
results.
Yeah.
Cool. Any more questions? All right.